Hey, you guys, welcome back again. Tonight we are going to be talking to you about dates, but not the dates that you may be thinking we're going to be talking to you about.
Although those are good too.
And we'll come back and talk about the dates with your beloved in another time. But tonight we wanted to talk to you guys about dates with your kids and why those are so important, and some ways to find creative methods of working them in. So that's what we're gonna kind of dive into this evening.
Well, and as our kids were growing up, and even now, we would always make a point. We've got 4 kids.
Yep.
4, not 4, 4. And we would always make a point to take one of them out on just kind of an individual go out, and it doesn't have to be real elaborate. Sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't.
Often it was a try.
Yeah.
We'd go get a milkshake or a drink or something and just ride around.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the importance of this was just to have time alone with them. And we felt like that was really important to just kind of work on the relationship that we had individually with them. It wasn't like a relationship with, the kids. It was a relationship with each individual child.
Yeah, and I would imagine that you guys, like we often found to be the case, there are times when things just seem to be kind of plucking away, everything is good, and then all of a sudden you'll notice that one of your kids is flying under the radar, or is acting different, or is showing out, or whatever. And that used to really be a big trigger for us, that we had not taken the time to really spend with them strategically and just listen to their heart. A lot of times we talked about questions a while ago. A lot of times that was prime question asking time.
Yes. And but again, it didn't have to be. Yep. Sometimes it was just go out and you sit across the table from them and
goof
you
off.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But those times are really powerful because you're developing a relationship directly with them, and they want that.
Oh yeah.
And they need that, and you actually need that as well, because there are certain things that will come out of those times that will not come out during group times.
Super insightful.
Yeah.
Super insightful. And I even, I hadn't thought about this in relation to the fact that we've always taken the kids out on dates until this very moment. So you're getting hot off the press here. But when I was younger, some of my fondest memories, and now I'm going to cry, some of my fondest memories were when my dad, who was in newspapers, would get called out because the press or something was broken in the middle of the night, and he'd take me with him, and we'd go and he'd figure out what was wrong, or an ad was missing or whatever. And then we would go after that little late night extravaganza to the newspaper press. We'd stop at a diner or something overnight, and we'd read headlines and make fun of the typos and the way that they were written. And I look back on that, and that was priceless, precious, wonderful time that I didn't even think of at the time, that this is him strategically making sure he had time with me, but it was. And so I know, as someone who is on the receiving end of that, how as they get older, I mean, he impacted me so that, we have always been really, that was a big deal to us.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think that was a holdover from the fact that my parents made it a big deal too.
Definitely. I think also we were actually helped out in a youth group when we were like brand new parents, which I would actually recommend that to you. If you have that opportunity to work in a youth group when your kids are younger, I would do that, because there is no better training.
You learn a lot.
Yeah. And one of the times we actually went to a youth workers conference up at the Wilds, and the speaker there was talking about, he was just talking about children and being parents. And I don't remember what the actual session was, but I remember him talking offhand about a pastor who was having a hard time with his daughter, and he was at his wit's end. The pastor was at his wit's end. He didn't know what to do, and this the teacher, the guy who was leading the session, he said, take your daughter and go out on a date, but don't go close by your house. Go like a long ways where you are pretty much guaranteed to not see anybody from your church, and just spend time with her. And then you need to schedule that. Like every single month. And the pastor came back and said, that was the best thing I ever did, because it was just that time. Because what was happening is that the daughter was feeling like she was competing with the ministry, and it was developing this kind of bitterness in her. And those dates gave her the time that she had with her father.
Yeah.
And it made all the difference in the world in that relationship.
Well, and what we found to be the case is what started as, small, when they're little, they look different than they do now. Our kids are 20, almost 21 to 14. So we've grown up. But when they were little, they were shorter times. They were, less elaborate. Generally, it was just a drive or going out. Now, we make a point. David does a lot of stuff. He's done things from, weekly lunches with the guys, they go out and go mountain biking, all kinds of stuff that they do just together. And for me, I take the girls every year for their birthday on a birthday getaway, just me and the birthday girl. And that has proven to be the most precious, priceless time, because I have a day and a half usually, because we'll leave, we'll spend the night, we'll spend the whole next day, get back here late, just doing exactly what they want, wherever they want to go. So prioritizing that time and letting the girls talk about that all year long. They're planning what they want to do. We're talking about it. It gives us endless conversation topics. And it just, these times, and the fact that they know that they're important enough to us that we'll walk away from whatever may be vying for us at that moment.
You have to it takes time, right?
It does.
You have to give your kids time, and you have to give them time that they have, that is theirs, and you have to do it on a regular basis and often. And we used to always say, when our kids were growing up, we would be watching. If we were having a little bit of trouble with one particular one, we say, I think it's time to go out on a date. Yep. And there was not this break of standards, or letting go of whatever the punishment might have been, but there was this time where you would just say, you know what, let's just go.
Well, and it wasn't generally confrontational either.
No,
often
not at
it
all.
was just, we're kind of noticing a difference in behavior, or a difference in attitude, or mindset, or emotion, and we wanted to get to the heart. And that goes right back to our mission as parents. We are called to get to the heart of our children. And this is one of those ways where practically you can just invest your time and your energy and your thought and your prayers and your soul in doing just that. And you'll get to know your kids so much better through those times.
And just to reiterate, one of the things that you said is it doesn't have to be elaborate. I mean, it just a little bit of time will bear a lot of fruit. And it could be, anything. It could be, we used to go to Toys R Us and look at Lego sets. We wouldn't even buy a Lego set. It was just looking at Lego sets. It just stuff like that. And it's time that they have with you. Yeah. And it bears fruit in the future.
Well, and here's where it's really, really shines. The world would have you think that as your kids get into middle school, high school, you are going to be the last person on the planet that they want to talk to. But what we have found to be the case is, a lot of times in the evenings, one of them will just come, hey, you want to go for a ride? Yeah. Or now they're requesting those times as 14 to 21-year-olds. It's completely countercultural, but it's the way that God designed the family to function.
And don't listen to that.
No, that's a lie. That's not the way.
That is not true. And even if you feel like your child doesn't want to spend time with you, maybe even they tell you that, it's not true. They
keep fighting for them.
They want you to spend time with them.
Yep. So do it. Go spend time with your kids. Find ways to date them. Yes. Take one out tonight. Do what you can.
All right. Thank you.
We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.